kiddos. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but I told my friend Paula, sweet, sweet Paula, I love you Paula and I miss you, that I would do a flow for her. So that's what I'm planning on doing. So I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like yet, but it'll be a good practice, and it'll probably be a little bit longer than a half hour. We'll see, but I'm not 100% sure. So just for the moment, start in a seat that works for you. I'm choosing a supported heroes pose because I know I need to open up my quads a bit, but my knees aren't as happy as they used to be, so I'm sitting up on a block to make it more comfortable. And if you don't have a block, you could always have a pillow or something, or you could just let yourself sit in a different position. I'll tell you halfway in case you need to make changes. So just let your chin drop into your chest, and then just roll your ear to shoulder through the center, and then over to the other side. And just go back and forth a couple of times, just realizing I'm wearing a lot of black and I don't usually do that. And then let yourself roll over towards the left, extend out through your right fingertips. And just take a moment to pause. Then you can let your left hand come down, let your right arm come on up and over. If you want to kind of turn the chest a little bit, just to get a little bit deeper into your side waist, it might feel good. And then pause, stretch even a little bit more, just getting that side waist. And then letting your right hand come on down, just come to the center, chin to chest, ear to shoulder, coming through and then to the other side. And then the next time your right ear drops towards your right shoulder, just pause there for a moment. You can extend out through your left fingers. And just any, extra things that you want to add to it, you totally can. Then you can let your right hand come down to the mat. Left arm might sweep all the way up and overhead, and you can kind of rotate chest down, rotate chest up if it feels good to move. And sometimes it doesn't. I know this side for me personally can be a little bit touchy, so I have to be careful. And then just let yourself circle the arm and down. Now, if you're in a cross-legged seat or something you want to switch, take a moment to switch. So there was a shoulder stretch I saw on Instagram. I forgot who did it, so I apologize for not giving credit. But I kind of like it, but I've tested it in one of my classes and I don't know how people felt about it. So the idea is when you're trying to do cat's breath, how sometimes it can be hard to really hit the right spot in your shoulders. So what they suggested was to take your hand, just lightly bring your finger. So I'm not trying to get my wrist real far, so I have lots of room here, and then taking your elbow, and I'm holding my tricep actually, and then drawing it forward and kind of resisting with the hand. And I like the way it feels. I feel it less in my rhomboids and more along the right side of my shoulder. They also suggested if you wanted to, you could put a strap to kind of give more to pull, but I don't want to overdo, so I'm going to stay here. And just take a couple breaths. Maybe see what it feels like to drop your head the other direction. Kind of gives you a little bit more oof, and the scalenes and all that good juicy stuff. And then come center. We'll kind of counterpose it in a moment. Just unwind, and taking your left hand, same thing, fingertips behind. Think the elbows coming forward, and that might even be enough stretch without the additional press of your arm, and then drawing forward. And I know for myself, this is technically my right arm, it's my dominant arm. I teach mirror image. So I have significantly less range of motion on this side. I can feel it. Give it another breath or so here. And then just nice and easy. Well, I should probably stay here a little bit longer. I talk longer on the other side. Just a couple more breaths. Oh yeah, noticing how it feels if you drop your head. Sorry, I'm slightly anxious because I'm getting an MRI at 3. And just making sure everything's okay in there. But nothing to be concerned about, I hope. And then easy, let your head come back up to the center. Unwind your arms, and then here to kind of counterpose, just let your hands come back, like you're just kind of opening up your chest. You might even push the palms behind you. It might even feel good to kind of bring them towards your heels, and think all I'm doing right now is letting myself really kind of pull shoulder blades back and pop the chest forward. Just kind of letting yourself, almost like you were trying to crack right up and underneath your shoulder blades. And then easy, just let yourself come on up. And then eventually start to walk yourself towards the shape of hands and knees. It might feel good for a moment just to straighten one leg behind you, and then the other, just giving yourself a chance to kind of lengthen out through the legs. And then from here, just come all the way down to your belly. It's funny, I've totally gotten in the habit of doing this stretch in every single one of my classes. So I feel like now we'll miss it if I don't. So take your left arm out in line with your shoulder, flip the palm to the sky. And then just roll your right toes behind you. I do like to bring the left foot in also, and sometimes I go deeper, but right now this is as far as my body wants to go. An option to go deeper is to bring this foot and kind of make it like a double pigeon laying on the back. But again, listen to your own body. Don't do what you always do. Do what feels like needs to happen. And then easy, let yourself come back down to your belly, and then bend the left elbow. You might shift it forward a little bit, and then roll your right toes behind you. I'm getting a little bit of foot cramping, that's why I'm doing weird things with my toes. But take another breath here. And then easy, come down towards your belly. It might just feel good for a moment just to press into your forearms, draw your chest forward, little turn of your head from side to side if you wish. And then when you come back to the center, I need a sweep down here. Woo. Let your right arm come out in line with your right shoulder, flip the palm, and then left toes behind you. You're trying to let your head relax to the mat. I know some days it doesn't work as well for me as others. You could always take both arms behind you if you wanted. And then come back down towards your belly. Bend your right elbow and let the fingertips go forward a little bit. And then roll again. And just notice one side, you probably have a little bit more space than the other. No judgment, just awareness. And then letting yourself come back down towards your belly, coming back onto your forearms, just coming into cobra. And take a moment here, really try to press into your feet. I have bell-bottom pants on, so you can't really see it, but my knees and shins are actually off the mat right now. And then I'm pushing into my forearms to kind of lengthen out the space between my ribs and my hips. And then from here, you can let yourself just lower down. Maybe take a moment to pause, bend the knees, little wiggle of the hips. And then just letting yourself come on up, hands and knees for a moment. Just take a couple rounds of cat and cow, because it'll probably feel kind of nice to unwind your back a little bit after laying on your belly, at least it does to me. And then let yourself come on up so your shins are up over your knees. So my teacher, Shiva, calls this Dandasana Anustrasana. So you're basically trying to stay in a straight line while you're in camel. It is helpful to take one hand to your belly, one hand to your low back, just so you can kind of see that you're not arching and you're not sitting. And you don't have to go incredibly far back. What happens is the further you go back, the more your quadriceps are going to have to kick in, which is a good thing because we want our legs to be strong, but it's also keeping your belly really firm as you're moving. Then here, maybe reach and hold back. I'm squeezing my glutes to help keep the tailbone under. If you want to make it a bit more challenging, arms might come up overhead. And then inhale, come on up to the center. Just circle the arms around and down. Fingers can face up or down, and then just lift the heart. And think of it as a kind of casual camel at the moment. And notice how I'm trying not to push my hips too far in front of my knees and just lifting my chest. And then take a moment to sink in. Child's pose, but walk your arms over to one side of your mat. It honestly doesn't matter which one first. I just knew I needed to stretch this side of my body. And then letting yourself come through the center and then reaching out through your right arm. And again, just giving yourself some space in your side body. And then here, just coming into the center, and we're gonna head back to down dog. So take a moment here to pause. We're gonna do a couple little things to stretch your wrists. I'm gonna try them in down dog anyway, but you could also do them in hands and knees if you wanted to. So take your hands and just turn your fingers. I'm not sure I'll turn it so you can see it, like this. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is it's probably gonna feel much more spacious in your shoulders, which is my intention, but you wouldn't necessarily want this hand position all the time because it does make it really easy to pull the weight out of your thumb, so it will actually cause wrist discomfort over time, but for the sake of a stretch, it's fine. Then letting yourself lower down, you need a second, roll out the wrists. Now the next one can be a lot, so if it doesn't feel right for you, the fingers facing you, palms on the mat. Now you might just stay here. I start to kind of almost down dog, but not quite, can't really get my shoulders way back there, but it's just to stretch out your forearms. And then you can let yourself come on down, ease it out. Now here, take your arms out to the side, thumbs in, and then your fingers on top. and then act like you're kind of pouring something out to the side beside you. And then you can go forward too. My friend Dara kept doing this the other day, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that actually feels good too. Maybe even go backwards. The idea is your thumb being contained just makes it a little bit of a deeper stretch, maybe a lot of it. And then from there, just give a little shake out, unwinding your hands. So from here, we're working our way towards downward dog. I'm just noticing I've taken all my cork blocks to go places, and I don't have any here, but that's okay, I'll get more. So letting yourself press back, take a second just to lift one leg to the sky, bend the knee, just whatever feels right for you in the moment. You can circle it around, just giving yourself some space. And then just release your foot down. Take the left leg up to the sky, or other leg, whatever you did first. Bend the knee, open the hip. Kind of think of this as more as a full body yawn. And then let both feet come on down. Come on up to your tippy toes, and then just walk your feet up towards your hands. And when you get to the point you can't get any closer, stay there. You can come way up onto the balls of your feet, try to squeeze your heels towards each other. My hands are on blocks, but if you can reach the floor, go right ahead. And then just easy, let the heels come on down towards the mat. Draw yourself up nice and high. And then exhale, hands, just come on into the heart center. So here, we're just gonna start to flow a little bit, and feel free at any point if you wanna pause, if you wanna turn this off, you can always come back. So inhale, sweep the arms to the sky. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Now this time on the exhale, just step your right leg back towards a lunge. I'm gonna go knee down, but it could be high if you really wanted it to be. Draw the arms forward, bend the elbows, open the arms out wide, and then sweep the arms forward, opening up across your chest, and then reaching forward. Now this time as you come up, either stay in kind of like goalpost arms, or maybe take the hands behind your head, elbows to the ceiling, and then sink in to your hips. So you're trying to make it so your hips aren't pushing forward too much, keeping space between your left hip and left hip crease. Left leg and left hip crease. Then use your belly to support you as you come back up, bringing your hands down towards the mat. Lengthen the left leg for a moment. And this is just to kind of wake up the hamstrings, little shift of your toes from side to side. And then eventually just let yourself bend back in towards your left knee. It's okay if you curl the right toes under and just pick up the back heel. And then let yourself coil in, chin to chest, and then sink in. So here's your cat's breath, just in a different position. Rolling up, dropping down. Now rolling up there. Here, just take a little moment to pause, engage through your belly. Now here, just turn over to the right, bend your right knee, that's your back knee. And then come on up and over, bend your left knee, that's your front knee. And I just pivoted back to the front of the mat. Then here, just step your right foot up to meet the left foot. Come all the way up to standing, and then hands come on into the heart. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, and forward fold. Inhale, a halfway lift, and then left leg back towards the lunge. Knee down for here, and then draw the arms up. Circle around, and then reach forward. Come up and around, and if you'd rather do different arms, totally up to you. Draw up. Now this time pause. Again, you can keep the elbows out wide, or you might like to let the hands come behind your head. Drop the hips, but lift your chest. And then use your inhale, or maybe your hands to help you come up. Lengthen the right leg. You can let your toes kind of rock from one side to the other. Kind of depends on how tight you're feeling in your outer hips. And then sink back into your right knee. Perhaps lift the left toes, or left heel rather, and then coil in. And then sink it. Coil in, and think of it like, I always envision somebody picking up a tissue on the ground and kind of going swoop like that, drawing up, ooh, my hip's doing a weird thing, and sink in. Now pause maybe for a moment here. Now pick up the back knee if it is down, shift up and over. I'm going slow because I'm having a little spasm in my back here. Come over and bend the left knee. I cannot figure out rhyme or reason of why it happens. Come on up and over, bend your right knee. Now this time, bend your left knee. Now we're gonna come down to sit. If you can comfortably roll up onto your heel and come all the way down, go ahead. You could totally sit on a block here. And I'm gonna keep my foot on the floor, but if you wanted to, you could bring this foot so it's more open like tree. And then just side bend over your right leg. The only thing I would caution you on if you are sitting on a block, just be careful you're not hyperextending your knee. Don't worry about how close you can get to the right foot. What I'd rather you did is lengthen out to this little left side of your waist, and you can totally keep your hand behind your head if you want support, or even right hand. I know it looks like you're being lazy, but you're not. Now here, inhale, come back up. I'm going slow because it's fast. Now, if you want a little more work, you're gonna lift the butt, shift up and over, bend your right knee. Or you can just totally go left leg, bend the knee. I'm actually gonna shift up and over because I wanna get out of this hip. So coming up and over, and then sinking down. So either keep the knee to the sky or you can drop it open like tree, and then side bend over your left leg. A lot of times I'll focus on using my left arm to try to roll my chest open, because the idea is that you're opening your side waist, but you're kind of keeping your chest open rather than rolling to the floor. In this particular variation, draw the right arm. Now here, when you're ready to come on up, we're just actually gonna stay on the ground for a moment. Take both legs out long. And depending on how tight this is for you, you can just stay right here and do nothing else. But if you feel like you can't sit up straight, I would put your hands on the ground. If you can sit up really straight pretty confidently, take your arms up instead. Give it a couple of breaths and just kind of feel how you have to engage through your belly. You can point or flex your feet, whatever you want. Now here, release your hands down. Shift your body weight, your upper body forward a little bit. Now, I know for me and my body, I can go down to the ground. I don't want to do that though. So those of us who are super tight here, take your fingers behind you and let yourself kind of press the heart forward. This is where you might want to sit on a block or a blanket. Those of you who this action isn't terribly difficult for, reach forward, but try not to let yourself go any lower. So you have to engage through your belly, through your back to help prevent that. Give another breath here. Then when you're ready, you can inhale, come on up. Now we're just gonna end up at the top of the mat. So you can totally just take your legs in, come on up however you wish. If you wanna kind of end it more like we did on the other side, you can come around here in your lunge, and then just letting yourself step forward, left foot meets the right. Inhale, draw the arms up high, and then just exhale, let your hands come on down. I'm just turning so you can see a little better. Just gonna be a standing figure four. I'm gonna use the assistance of my bike handle and then sink in. So I have this wonderful elliptical bike that I love riding outside, and I bought a trainer for it. I've used it twice inside. I want to be outside. I just want to get warm. So here, if you want to extend through the arms, you can. Now the beautiful thing about having assistance with your balance is you're not rocking and rolling and falling all over the place. So you might get a deeper stretch. But if you want to challenge the balance, go right ahead. I've noticed now that I don't do balancing poses every day, because I don't do yoga every day anymore, that I actually feel it a lot in my standing leg, and I didn't expect that. Let yourself unwind, I mean in a good way. So then here, right ankle over your left thigh. Again, you might let yourself kind of use that balance for a moment. I'm lengthening my tailbone, maybe start to stretch out through the left arm. If you get like, hey, get both arms going, but think tailbone back, heart forward. So I'm not rounding the spine, I'm lengthening it. Give it another breath. And then easy, just let yourself come on up and release the right foot down. Come back over if you moved by any chance. So inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, circle the hands down. Take a halfway lift and then right foot back to a lunge. Back knee high or low. Come on up into kind of a tall lunge. I'm gonna keep my hands on my quad for the moment. What I'd like you to try to do is keep pushing into the right heel, so you kind of keep pushing the right foot back. Press into your left thigh and then lift the heart up to the sky. You can totally keep your chin tucked. Give it another breath or so here. Now think belly's drawing you up. Either lower down the right shin or keep the right leg lifted and lengthen your left leg. You can bring your fingertips down to the mat if you wish. Now I'm realizing why I don't wear black a lot. I kind of blend into the mirror and my hula hoop and everything else, so I hope you can see everything fine. Now from here, bend back in towards your left knee. Now you can keep the hands on the ground for support, or let them float out to the side. And this is just making it so you have to use your legs. That's a good thing. Now from here, let your hands come on down. Now ultimately, we're just going to sit down with the right leg extended in front of us. If you'd like, you're going to kind of play with maybe a little bit of a standing split, and then pull it into your belly, shoot it through, and then sit down. Use your hands as much as you need to. Now hug the left knee, take a twist, and your right leg can be bent or straight. And then come around, take a more open twist, and I'm lifting up my sits bone. You can keep it down, whatever feels more comfortable in your body. Now come back to the center, reach down for the left foot, and then just draw it up. And if you can't reach your foot comfortably, you can take it underneath. Now from here, you can either just let yourself play here, maybe try to float the right leg, if you want to let go and see what happens. So asymmetrical, it gets a little bit harder for the balance. And then you might reach down to both big toes or both calves, whatever you got, lifting it up. Now from here, we're going to end up on hands and knees. If you're feeling particularly enthusiastic, Paula, I don't know, maybe, rock back, rock forward, chaturanga, but I'm not. So I'm just gonna roll forward, come back towards my hands and knees, and then just shift up. And then just letting yourself come back. Now don't get me wrong, I love me some chaturanga, and that used to be one of my favorite poses. But with the, you can see the bones sticking out, with the arthritis and stuff in my wrists and the hands, it's just not serving me well anymore. So this kind of helps your body get that same benefit. I still do them sometimes, just not as much. Then next time you kind of pause, lean back, again, maybe the arms stay forward, they might come up to the sky. I'm kind of deliberately tucking my tailbone under so I'm not arching my back because I have a lot of lordosis curve. And then come on up. Hands can come to your low back, or maybe I'm sneaking my fingers under my glutes and then lifting up a little bit bigger. And of course, if you can reach your feet or do things like that, you're welcome to. I'm just trying to take my time. Then inhale, come on up. Let your hands come down towards the mat. And just push up towards downward facing dog. You okay?
Everyone